is gonna be like the last like 10, maybe 20 minutes of this. And I'll just have to like splice them together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let me get back on there. Okay. Here we go. Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
Is this true, Mr. Wright?
Uh-oh.
If I show that piece of evidence now, Emmett's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the board of inquiries. What do I do now? I'm going to think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Can I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Not show evidence. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
What? You lie.
Chief Guns.
You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you don't know the truth, do you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area?
Like there's like a part of it's been cut out for some reason.
You mean you had this in your safe?
What? That means you, the Chief of Police, have been concealing evidence. It's going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Ah, we got him to reveal it.
Ah,
We got him to reveal that he's been concealing evidence.
impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What? You mean you admit to it?
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her.
I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, then when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. and I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Doc convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I had two pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you.
Two pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why?
Had come up. For insurance, of course.
Insurance?
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jaw fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jaw, too? Oh. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance.
Yeah. Oh, geez. It feels like it's going on forever.
You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto. Cuff it up already. I know you have it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Yance? That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe?
Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late.
It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up, your victory is mine. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered the prosecutor. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest?
Oh yes, at last you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for an analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly.
You mean?
It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh, oh, oh. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. And why would that be? you already know?
Mr. Wright, do you really know?
You know whose fingerprints. You know what,
Whoever the
sorry.
fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
Yeah, this screen share is going
Very
way too
well,
slow
I'll
for
tell
me.
you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... Emma Sky! What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, you're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along. My God. And you still tried to pin the murder on me.
So it's true. Friend, it's true. The girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall. How could you? You monster. The Sky. You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. The Sky. It's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet.
Ha, but I'm afraid it is, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer?
Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh? And what's that?
Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall? You ask. It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about?
I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth.
Goodness, this is laggy.
What could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, you tyrannical reign, and your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth.
And what exactly is this supposed to be?
This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out all of the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it. Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth. There's no doubt she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time.
No. This is nonsense.
Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
So then tell me, who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword.
Then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death. Said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Jesus. This goes so slow. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it.
Remember that you admitted only moments ago that you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's dress? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating shirts, you proved that you were the actual murderer.
No.
It's finally all over.
Oh, that was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
What do you mean you refute his allegations?
You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Order! What nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Aji. My goodness, why does this go so fucking slow? Oh my lord. Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. God, it's taking forever. It's laggy as fuck. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you?
Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
That's not fair.
I swear to fucking God. Ho 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 ho! Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son.
I'm afraid Mr. Gann's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth,
True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Hmm? Well, Mr. Wright. Games at last. Time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit it that you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of evidence? I did not. I admit I refused to present it at one point.
Aha! So the evidence is illegal.
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
No, Haji. Don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Whether you refuse to present the evidence, if you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
There we go. Sorry.
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law.
Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department.
Rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident.
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago.
No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless.
The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Gaming Gan.
You yourself confessed to a certain truth.
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest?
Oh yes.
Oh, they tricked him
No.
into making. They tricked him into making the evidence valid. Oh, fuck yes.
It was then that you approved this cloth. As conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth.
The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you.
No. Mm. I'm not doing all that laughter. That's way too much.
Oh yeah.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. A good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Do you wanna? Or me?
I'll take him.
Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
It's not too late. I'm going to hand all of this over to Marshall.
well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by, oh my fucking god, by his words. Jesus. Damn thing, so fucking lagging. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife.
Oh boy.
I couldn't just pull it out.
Man,
Damn my
dude,
dirty
that
mind.
Apollo game.
Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor I didn't realize my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprint. On Detective Gumshoe's locker.
I used to be known as the crime computer, But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry. I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Man, oh, my audio must be so fucking delayed on shit.
Oh, you already. Leaving the prosecution's car aside? How? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this?
Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take.
So you left the jar fragments in the glove.
Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy. Why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me. We're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah, can we end this case already? My god.
Oh, Aji.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
Sorry too, Imogen. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Aji. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
Now you... Oh.
Now you have Righto here. And Worthy. These two around? You can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Guy, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I have done these past 2 years, and the time I had Gant help me forge evidence, up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Guy. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you might just make it to the top. She smiled. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky, and you too, Mr. Edgewood. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been.
It was nothing.
Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done real well, Mr. Wright.
Stop it. I only did my job.
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky. Yes, Your Honor. You're innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as a trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. Oh my God, we finally did it. We finally got the verdict. of not guilty.
Yeah.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
Thank fucking God.
February 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. At long last, it's finally over. We got the victory music. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for murder, which she didn't commit. No, it's not that. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgewood. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh my God. Oh,
God,
yes
it's
I
taking
am.
too
I'll
long.
come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe,
Oh my
what is it?
goodness, why